All right, this is a video lesson for Unit 3, Lesson 5, which is solving equations with variables on both sides. In this lesson, we're going to be solving, exactly like it sounds, problems that have a variable on both sides. So if you look at number 1, you see that there's an x on both sides. That's the kind of problem we're going to deal with. To do this, there are 4 steps that you should get down in your notes. The first one is to simplify both sides using PIMA. The second step is to to move the variable to one side. The third step is to solve using AMAP, the reverse order of operations. And the fourth step is to check if you have time. So we're going to do a few of these examples and see what it's all about. Step 1, we're going to try to simplify both sides of number 1, but there's nothing really to do. So we're just going to start moving the variable around. I like to move the variable to a side for where it will be positive, but that's not required. So like in this first problem, I like to move the 9x to the right so that we get a positive 12x here instead of a negative 12 if I were to subtract the 3x over. But you'll get the same answer either way. So I add 9x to both sides. That leaves me with a 30 equal to 6 plus 12x. Well, now it's not a variable on both sides problem anymore. The variable's on one side. So I'm able to subtract 6 from both sides and get 24 equals 12x. And I can just divide by 12 to get x equals 2, or 2 equals x. They both work. Number 2. I'm going to go, and this time I'm going to add 8x to both sides, because again, I'm just trying to keep the x positive, but that is just for convenience. It's not a requirement. So I add 8 to both sides. It gets rid of the x term from this side, so it won't be on both sides anymore. I get 43 equals 2x and 8x make a 10x plus 3. Now, from here, I'm going to just do a normal two-step problem. Subtract 3, get 40 equals 10x. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 10 to get 4 equals x, or x equals 4, however you want to say it. Number 3 has a little bit of work that needs to be done before we can go and start moving variables around. This time I'm going to have to distribute to both sides from that simplifying first step. So I'm going to get 5 to 3x makes a 15x, 5 to negative 2 makes a negative 10, 9 to x makes a 9x, and 9 to negative 4 makes a negative 36. This time what I would do is, personally, I would subtract 9x from both sides. That gets the variable to one side, because now it's not on this side anymore, and it keeps things positive. So I have a 6x minus 10 equals negative 36. I'm going to add 10 to both sides and get 6x equals negative 26. I'm going to divide both sides by 6 and get x equals, and my calculator is going to tell me that that answer is negative 4.33. Now moving on to the word problem here at the bottom. We're going to set up a couple of equations here, one for Verizon and one for AT&T. We're told that they have international data plans or calling plans. AT&T's plan charges 5 cents a minute with no connection fee. Verizon's plan charges 1.9 cents a minute with a $1.99 connection fee. So with that information, we're asked, what is the cost of each company for a 20-minute call? So what I'm going to do first is set up an AT&T equation. And I'm going to say that's A equals, I'm just saying A for AT&T. A equals, well, there's no connection fee. So the starting fee is 0. You could write a 0 or just say there's no starting fee. And then 5 cents a minute. We write money with decimals, so 0.05 is 5 cents, where x is the number of minutes per minute, or a minute. That's going to be the AT&T charge. Now, if it's 20 minutes, that's going to be A equals 0.05 times 20, which ends up being A equals $1 for AT&T. So a 20-minute call is going to cost $1 at AT&T. For Verizon, we have to pay $1.99 before we even make a call. Just to connect, it costs $1.99. And then it costs 0.019 cents per minute, or 0.019x. For a 20-minute call, we're going to have, V for Verizon. V equals 199 plus 0.019 times 20 for 20 minutes. That's going to be V equals, and when I type this into my calculator, I get 0.019 times 20 plus that $1.99. That's going to cost us $2.37. Now, the second problem is for a 2-hour call, or 120 minutes. And we're going to do this very, very similarly. So I'm going to take those previous equations and just cheat and copy them over. So for 120 minutes, AT&T is going to cost 0.05 times 120, which is equal to $6 for AT&T. And then when I go to Verizon, I'm going to have Verizon is $1.99 plus 0.019 times 120. That gives us V equals $4.27 for Verizon. Then they ask us, when are the two calls going to be equal? Like, how long would the two calls have to be for these to be equal to each other? And what we're going to do is we're going to take that AT&T charge, which is 0.05x, and we're going to set it equal to the Verizon charge, which was 1.99 plus 0.019x. And we're going to look, when would these two things be equal, the two call costs? And we're going to solve that. I'm going to slide it over to the side so I have a little bit of room to work on this problem, but it's a variable on both side problem. We're going to move the x to one side. I'll do that by subtracting 0.019x. And we're going to get 0.031x equals $1.99. Then I can divide both sides by 0.031 and get x equals 64.19 minutes. That's how long it's going to take until the two plans cost the same. Now, finally, they ask us, which of these plans is better? Well, I think that depends on how long you want to talk on the phone. If you look for a 20-minute call, AT&T's dollar is a little bit cheaper than Verizon's $2.37. But for a 2-hour call, AT&T's $6 is a little more expensive than Verizon's $4.27. They're equal at 64 minutes. So I think that's the big changing point. What we're going to say is it is cheaper at AT&T. Remember, it's only $1 for a short call. At AT&T for calls under that 64-minute mark. It's cheaper at Verizon for calls over 64 minutes. So it depends on what you want. If you want to be able to make a lot of calls that are really long, you'd rather have Verizon. If you want to be able to just have a few minutes per plan that you're going to actually use, then it would be cheaper to use AT&T. And that wraps up this lesson.